Three AI models, one decision. They disagreed completely, and here is what they produced. Most people use AI like a smarter Google. Type a question, get an answer, and won. That is the weakest possible use case. For serious decisions, career moves, business bets, life pivots, getting a single confident answer is not the goal. The goal is pressure, structured disagreement. Three different lenses on the same problem before you commit to anything irreversible. This video shows you exactly how that works, using one of the hardest decisions a professional can face. Let me take you through a personal story. My last attempt at building something did not end with a lessons learned LinkedIn post. It just ended. I went back to the desk, did my job, and spent about a year pretending I had not just learned something very expensive. For a long time, I thought the mistake was the business itself. The wrong product, the wrong timing, or the wrong market. That is a comfortable version. The real version is harder. The real mistake was the decision itself. I made it on conviction, which is another word for a gut feel dressed up as clarity. I never pressure tested it. I never asked anyone to find the flow before I really acted on it. The tool I did not have then exists now. Three AI models assigned specific roles, forced to disagree before they are allowed to synthesize. That is what I'm going to show you, using the exact decision most people in this situation are actually asking for. Here is a problem with asking one AI model for advice on any serious decision. Every model has a dominant frame. For example, Claude leans towards identity and long-term thinking. GPT leans towards data and financial realism. Gemini leans towards risk and regret. Ask one and you get only one lens. That lens will be coherent. It will be confident too, but it will be incomplete. The method I use starts from a different premise. Do not ask for an answer. Instead, ask for a structured argument. Assign each model a role. Forbid early agreement. Force them to find the flaw in each other's position. Then, and only then, build the synthesis yourself. The disagreement is the output. The synthesis is the work. Here is a real-life decision case we'll run here. And this is the exact prompt I used in Claude to take a decision. Let's decipher this a bit. A mid-career professional, stable job, senior level, good income, has family responsibilities and children. 15 to 20 hours per week outside work, maybe in the evenings and weekends he or she can put, and definitely no runway. And a question that will not go away. Could I leave my job or build something of my own? Now, this is not a hypothetical situation. This is a real question sitting in the background of most serious professionals who have been employed long enough to know what they are trading. Security for autonomy, or salary for upside, or certainty for the chance of something better. Now watch what three of AI models do with it when they are forced to disagree. Three models, three roles, not three versions of the same question. Claude is a strategist in our case, assigned to examine identity risk. Who is this person without the job title? What is the gap between their founder fantasy and their actual evidence of founder capability? Where is the self-deception hiding? Now that's Claude's role. GPT, on the other hand, is the CFO, assigned to examine financial exposure. What does the cash runway actually look like? What revenue proof exists? What happens to the family in month 7 if nothing has worked? Gemini is a risk analyst, assigned to examine the cost of staying. What is a 10-year regret scenario if this person does nothing? What risk exists on the default path that feels safe but are not? One rule applies across all three. They are forbidden from agreeing until the debate is complete. Each model must find the flaw in the other's position before the synthesis begins. That rule is what makes this useful instead of just reassuring. Claude goes first, and Claude does not go easy. The dominant risk here is not financial, it is identity. Now, this is the Claude's version of the problem. The person has spent 20 years being defined by an employer, has a title, a company, a structure that tells them who they are every morning. The moment that disappears, the psychological exposure is significant. Not because they cannot handle it, because they have never tested it. The founder fantasy of freedom, autonomy, building something real is seductive precisely because it has never been lived. The gap between the fantasy and the reality of building alone, without a salary, without institutional validation, is where most people quietly collapse. And there is one more thing Claude caught that the others did not. The credibility of the person carries, the seniority, the platform, the institutional weight is borrowed. It lives in the employer's logo. The residency that keeps the family here lives in the employment visa. Both will disappear on the same day. What's Claude's ultimate position in this? Do not resign until the part-time business has produced real, repeatable revenue and a residency basis you own. Because right now you are not choosing between employee and founder. You are choosing to bet your family's legal status and 20 years of borrowed credibility on a hypothesis you have not yet been willing to test for free. GPT comes in harder on the numbers. Identity risk is real, but it is survivable. Financial miscalculation is not. This person has family obligations, a lifestyle built on a salary. Children whose school fees do not pause while the market validates a product. The question is not whether to build. The question is whether there is a single paying customer yet. Not a compliment, not a letter of intent, but a payment. The CFO has a specific threshold, $8,000 to $10,000 recurring, held for 3 to 6 months. A visible path to $20,000. 12 months of family runway sitting in the account after resignation. Below that threshold, quitting is not brave, it is premature. So what's GPT's position here? Do not leave stable employment now. Keep building part-time until real recurring revenue and family runway make the resignation financially defensible. Gemini disagrees with both, not on the risk, but on what is being ignored. Claude and GPT are both correct about the risk of leaving. What neither has modeled is a risk of staying. The default path, keep the job, keep the salary, keep the security, is not risk-free. It carries its own exposure, skills that stop compounding, options that close as the market shifts, a finite window on the AI leadership brand moment that is open right now and will not stay open. And the tail risk nobody wants to say out loud. AI-driven restructuring in the industry is not a theory. It is happening. An exit forced on someone else's terms, at someone else's timing, with none of the preparation this person is currently building. The person asking this question is not asking because things are going well. They are asking because something is not working. That signals deserves to be taken seriously. So what's Gemini's position? The default option of staying employed is an unacceptably high-risk strategy that guarantees long-term regret, ensures structural stagnation, and actively destroys the finite window of leverage you currently possess to build a high-value independent brand. 3 different positions, 3 different lenses. Here is where the synthesis begins. And this is the part most people skip. They ask for the AI for a verdict instead of doing this work themselves. Claude was right about identity risk and about the structural trap nobody named clearly. The credibility and the residency are both borrowed from the employer. They cannot be the foundation for an independent life. Secure an independent residency basis first before the revenue question is allowed to matter. GPT on the other side was right about the proof of payment. Enthusiasm from peers is not validation. A paying stranger is validation. Repeat payment is even a stronger validation. The CFO's threshold, 8 to 10,000 recurring, 12 months runway, is a right gate for an irreversible decision. Gemini was right about the cost of staying. The default path has a price too. It is just price that reveals itself slowly, which makes it easy to ignore until it is not. An open-ended stay and build is itself a trap. The default needs an expiry date. But here is what none of the 3 models said clearly on their own, and it is the most important finding in the entire debate. Experiment has not failed. The output so far, the tools, the architecture, the strategy, the content, that is building. That's not selling. Zero revenue does not prove the market rejected the idea. It just proves that asking a stranger to pay has not happened yet. The real variable, the sales effort, was never tested. You have not failed the experiment here. You have not yet taken it. The answer is not quit your job. The answer is not stay forever. The answer is this: earn the exit. Run the test you have been avoiding for free while still employed. Fix the residency in parallel. Let the data, not the feeling of restriction, trip the trigger. Do not make the irreversible decision before you have the evidence that justifies it. 6 months structured with specific proof points that either confirms or kills the thesis before you bet the family on it. This is a framework that comes out of the 3 model synthesis, not an inspiration, but a structure. 6 months, 3 phases. Each one answers a specific question before you move to the next. Month 1 and 2 is for the proof of demand. Does anyone want this? Demonstrated by behavior, not words. 5 conversations where someone asked how to buy. Not how to get on a waiting list, how to buy. Month 3 and 4, it's a proof of payment. Has anyone paid? Not a compliment, not a referral. A payment from a stranger who has no social obligation to be kind to you. 1 payment changes everything. 0 payment tells you something important too. And month 5 and 6, the proof of repeatability. Has the first person paid again? Has the second person paid without being chased? Repeat payment is a signal that this is a business and not a transaction. That is the threshold. Remember, compliments are not validation, but payment is validation. Repeat payment is even stronger validation. This is the exact framework I am running right now, building between 9 p.m. and midnight, on the weekends when the kids are occupied, no runway, no sabbatical. The system either works under those conditions or it does not work. After 6 months, the evidence will tell me something the models cannot. Whether the market agrees with my thesis or whether I am still in the founder fantasy that Claude warned about. That reframe from quit or stay to what evidence changes my mind is what the 3 model debate produced. Not a verdict, but a structure. That is the difference between asking AI for comfort and using it for pressure. Here is the exact method. 5 steps, takes 30 minutes, works on any serious decision. Step 1, write the decision in 1 sentence, not a paragraph, 1 sentence. If you cannot do this, the decision is not ready to be made yet. Clarity of definition is the first filter. Step 2. Assign each model a role, not a question. Claude is the strategist, GPT is a financial realist, Gemini is a long-term risk analyst. A role determines the frame determines what the model looks for. Do not ask all three the same question. You will get 3 versions of the same answer. Step 3. Forbid early agreement. Include this line in every prompt. Your role is to find the flaw in the current consensus, not to confirm it. That one instruction changes the output completely. Step 4. Read where they disagree, not where they agree. That is easy and often obvious. The disagreement is where the hidden risk lives. Write it down. That is your actual output from this process. Step 5. Build the synthesis yourself. This is not something you outsource to a 4th model. You take the 3 positions, identify what each got right, and construct the recommendation that integrates all 3. That work. The integration is where your judgment matters. The AI gives you the pressure. You provide the conclusion. Pick one decision you have been sitting on, not the biggest one, just one that has been unresolved for more than a week. Assign Claude, GPT, and Gemini a role each. Forbid agreement, read the disagreement, see what surfaces that you had not named yet. 30 minutes. That exercise will tell you more than another week of deliberation. Book of Phoenix is a decision intelligence channel. Every week, real decision frameworks, real AI model debates, real comeback stories of people whose one decision changed everything. Tools that serious professionals actually use, models that force better thinking, and the kind of clarity that only comes from structured pressure and not gut feel. This channel is for anyone navigating a decision where the cost of getting it wrong is too high to wing it. You have just watched 3 AI models disagree on one of the hardest decisions a professional can face. And you have seen what structured thinking process that gut feels never could. If you want more of that, the frameworks, the debates, the stories, the tools, the next decision is yours. Subscribe. In the next video, we will discuss the exact prompts I use to make Claude, GPT, and Gemini argue with each other instead of agreeing. The wording matters more than you think, and it'll really surprise you. That is coming next. Stay tuned.